Hey guys, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. So good to see you guys. It's been 2 weeks. If you can't tell by our burnt countenances, we've been in the sun.
Her burnt.
Our burnt. Yeah, I'm literally burnt. But we're just gonna carry on for a little bit till you guys get in here. I know it's been a minute, but as you can see in the title, we are talking about connecting the broken pieces. And I'm really excited because we've been talking about the angry black man, angry black woman. As I told you, those are just two stereotypes that, we kind of focused in on, honed in on. But it's really more so dealing with, the stereotypes that have, tried to limit us, what the world perceives us to be, what our circumstances would seemingly make us out to be, and how we can be far more than that. So today is really no different. We're going to be talking about what happens when those two stereotyped people come back together. Hi, Shantae. Hey, if you're on my cast, please say something. Send a heart. Let me know that you're here. I want to acknowledge you. We're going to get started. We're not going to hold too much time, but we are going to be talking about what happens when two broken people come together in relationship, engagement, marriage, whatever. We would be fooling ourselves if we said that broken people don't go on to get married without realizing that they're broken or acknowledging their brokenness. So we're going to talk about it all. It is really all the same. The marriage is just that you've graduated a little further in without getting whole. So my wonderful husband's going to pray us in, and we're going to get started.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to say thank you, God. We thank you for
Lord.
this wonderful day that you've given us,
Thank you,
God.
God.
We thank you for this time and space, God, that you've allowed us, God, to minister to your people. We ask, Lord God, that you would breathe on this lesson, God, breathe on this information,
Yes,
God.
Lord.
We ask, Lord, that even as we're teaching, God, or explaining, God, that you would give even greater understanding, God, even greater
Lord.
revelation, God, to what we have found, God. We ask, Lord, that you would bless this broadcast, God, allow somebody to be blessed, allow somebody to be touched, God, allow somebody to be able to look inward, God, and be able to, make the necessary changes, God. If they see anything within them, God, we ask, Lord God, that you would minister to them, God.
Yes, Lord.
Even as we're talking, God, we thank you and we praise you and we pray all of these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. All right, guys. Connecting the broken pieces. Here we go. So as I said in the intro, if you're just joining in, we're talking about what happens when two people come together who are not whole, who have been broken by various issues, which we will be talking about as we deal with this in the next, I think we could probably sum this up in about 2 weeks, but for however long the Lord should allow us to talk about it, we will be getting into those different issues that can break us and just cause us to not be our whole and sometimes even authentic selves. Things happen in life. It's inevitable, but how you deal with them, how you recover from them is solely up to you. And it definitely affects your relationships with people. So we're going to get to a demonstration. I see a new wave of people have come in. Please comment, say hey, put a wavy hand or something. I want to acknowledge you guys. I'm not able to really see everyone who's come into the room, but we do want to know that you're here. And this is very interactive. If you have questions, if you have thoughts on the matter, thoughts about anything we say, as always, please comment them. As you know, we will always respond. We will always acknowledge them. This is definitely a two-way conversation. It's not just us preaching or talking to you guys. Hey, Janelle. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so we're going to jump on in as you guys come on in. So, broken pieces. I really struggled over how we could even demonstrate this. So the first thing that came to mind was, hi, Erica. First thing that came to mind was breaking a plate. You ever been in a restaurant and you see the waiter carrying all the stuff and they take a tumble and you see the stuff shatter. You see glass. I mean, not take a tumble, but some of them do. But you see it, go everywhere. And you're like, man, how they going to recover from that? Or you broke something at home and you're like, well, that's it for that. Snow. Oh, well, just trash the whole thing. I can't put it back together. No amount of super glue, tape, prayer, Jesus, nothing's going to put this thing back together. So let's just throw it away. But realistically in life, we don't get to do that. Some people have thrown us away because we were broken. But We all, because we're tenacious beings, we all try to get up and start again, begin again, attempt it again, love again. And that's what we're talking about after being broken. So let's start with this little demonstration, okay? What happens when we're broke. Very simple. Ready? All right. I hope that you can see these words. Bring it a little closer. They might not be able to see it, okay? He's holding a piece of paper that says them, and I'm holding one that says you, okay? We are talking about you and whoever it is you're dating, or them and you know what I mean, the two of y'all, okay? Now, inevitably, there are some things that happen to us that are a bit simpler to deal with, okay? Some would say a bit easier of a cut. Something that can easily be mended together. All right, as you can see, the pieces, they match. Not too hard to put this back together. Some tape or something could very easily mend this, okay? Same thing happens to them, all right? But along the way, some things become violent. Things start tugging at us, and before we know it, we get a few more ribs. And just sometimes when we think, I'm holding on to broken pieces, so to speak, there are some things that come into our lives that take fragments out of us. So we're still holding on, but you see that fragment? Not so easy, all right? And then eventually, we break, all right? What happens when we get in these relationships is that you try to take you and bind it together with them. Let's lift this up a little bit. You see this? All this? This is a lot of space to fill. This is a lot of stuff to deal with. Now, you see these two easy cuts? Seems like that could come together fairly easily. But what about all this? Whose responsibility is it to mend?
Great divide.
Oh, a huge divide. You can't even put the words together. Unless I told you what they were before we started, you wouldn't even be able to tell. It's unrecognizable. This is what happens. And as we both ripped out a few fragments, there are some things that happen to us that are just a bit too much to handle sometimes. There are some things that take stuff out of us that we can't easily, recoup. We can't easily come back from, okay? So let's talk about it. What I love about this demonstration is I was trying to figure out how do we do this? How do we do this? When we enter into these new relationships, we come with expectation. We come thinking, oh, they're going to complete me. This person's going to show me things I've never seen before. They're just going to give me, all of these things that I've been missing. They're going to be the answer to a prayer. I prayed for this man. I prayed for this woman. This is what I want. This is what I actually need. And I need them to be all of that and more. But if we be honest with ourselves, we put a lot of undue pressure on people who are just as much, if not more broken. See, it doesn't matter how we turn this thing. It just, some pieces seem like they would fit. It just doesn't even matter. It's not going to work. But why? We come expecting them to be everything we want them to be to make us whole again, but it's absolutely impossible. No man, no woman can make you, and no vice, because some people have turned to alcohol and drugs and things. It's really all the same. None of it can come to make you whole again. So we have two broken people that try to come together and make a whole relationship, make a whole marriage. And what ends up happening, like I said, there's some fragments that are missing. You try to twist the pieces around, and nothing you do will seem to work. You can't even find the pieces. You ever break a glass or break something, as I said before, you sweep up what you can, but you ever come back a day or so and realize, I know I've done this, in the middle of the night, I don't like wearing shoes, stumble on and boom, something has hit your foot and you're like, man, I thought I got all that up. Mm-hmm. But you realize there's still some fragments that weren't quite dealt with. And then when you try to throw the fragments away, you notice if you're not careful, if you reach in and try to get it and try to deal with it on your own, you'll mess around and cut yourself and hurt yourself trying to mend what is absolutely unmendable in your strength. Okay? So like I said before, those two pieces can come together. In some places, like we had the finely cut places, the pieces that we did with the scissors, those can easily be mended, but there are some that just cannot. And what happens is that other person, we end up blaming them for not filling the void. You didn't protect me. You're not enough of a protector. You're not a provider. You don't make me happy enough. I don't have everything that I need with you. Why aren't you telling me what to do? If you're the head of the house, you should be lead. See, that sounds like a dad issue, which we'll get into, a parental issue, which we'll get into. But we end up expecting, hi, Tasia, we end up expecting them to be what they absolutely cannot. Tell me an example of what you feel, maybe not be your personal example, but maybe something you've seen where there have been unrealistic expectations of a relationship.
Unrealistic expectations of a relationship. Let's see. It's interesting because I think unrealistic expectations, period, can kill anything that's good. Mm-hmm. And I just think that unnecessary pressure, unnecessary added pressure, just will cause anything to spin out of control, mm-hmm. especially if there's already pressure there to perform, mm-hmm. or
That's
to
good.
or
Pressure
to be. I think that insecurities can kind of take that overboard because we expect to find our security in one person. Let's say, for example, there's an altercation of sorts between, your spouse and someone else, and, they would expect you to just up and, say something, but it's on the grounds of just because, you're tied to them or what have you. It might not be on a disrespectful basis, but they expect you to speak up when, they feel like something's not right or not in line. And I think that can potentially be an unrealistic expectation, number one, because as a married couple, you really both have an understanding, and when it comes to the level of maturity, you understand how each person communicates. And I think that when we feel like we have to control what the other person is saying, or what we control when our spouses are saying something, that can turn deadly. I do believe that we should all have our own minds. I think that we should all be able to address things individually. We might not do it the right way, but we should never count on somebody else to defend us. Now, let's say, for example, in a different similar situation, let's say, for example, God forbid, let's say my wife is assaulted. That's when the Hulk would rise up within me. But let's say, for another example, because I know the way that she communicates, I know that she's intellectual, and I know that she has a way with her words. So I would never feel the need to step in unless things get a little out of control and things get out of hand. Now, knowing my wife, she would never, disrespect anybody else, and just,
I'm not going to ask for it.
Right.
I'm not going to.
It's not going to be right. That's what you took it right out of my mouth. And so knowing that, the only other reason I would need to step in is if I feel like the other party is getting out of control, or even if I feel like she is getting out of control. Now, if I see that she's handling herself, there's no reason for me to be like, now hold on, wait a minute, because that just escalates things further. Number one. Number two, it doesn't give.
I see you.
It doesn't.
You guys on my feed, as a mom on our Kingdom Covenant feed, she said, expecting my boys to sit down and be quiet, unrealistic. I'm sure the parents could agree. Go ahead.
But I should be able to give her breathing room to function individually. Mm-hmm. I should never be so controlling that I'm like, nope, don't you say it, let me say it. No, for what? Because if I know that she has great problem solving skills, and if I know that she has great communication skills, then I know that there will be a resolution. Now, if in fact the situation turns for the worse, then I'll say,